Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well. Today's video is inspired by one of my favorite bookish content creators, Read with Cindy. She does an Asian readathon every year. I can't remember exactly when she started doing it, but this will be my first year participating in one, so I wanted to make a video about it. And I just like the idea of a readathon or like a reading challenge every once in a while because it gives my reading a little bit more structure, and that challenge or readathon will also guide my reading choices. So in this video, I'll talk briefly about the readathon and then I will talk about my book picks as well. But the full link to the original video will be in the description. It has a lot more detail about the readathon if you're interested in checking that out. So that will be in the description. But I'll go ahead and talk about the readathon. I've said that word a lot of times, but the goal of the readathon, as you've probably gathered from the name Asian Readathon, is to read books or works by people who are Asian. And there are 5 prompts in the readathon. For each of the prompts, you want to pick a work in a medium or genre of your choice. This is not limited to just books or novels. It can be manga, manhwa, comic books, whatever it is. You pick whatever it is that you enjoy. And for each prompt, you want to pick one of those books, but the countries that the authors are from have to be different for each prompt. So there will be no repeats from one prompt to the other. I hope that made sense, but if it didn't, I'm hoping that you will have a little bit more clarity as I start talking through the choices that I have picked out for each of the prompts. So, another thing that I wanted to mention is that the readathon has a theme, and the theme for the readathon this year is past lives. Okay, back to the prompts. The very first prompt is a freebie and is just going to be a book by an Asian author. For that one, Cindy had picked A Tempest of Tea, and I really wanted to read that book because it sounds so interesting, but I was also banking on reading it through the library. My library doesn't own it and I don't really feel like buying a copy right now. So I swapped it out with another book, and I have chosen Heart of the Sun Warrior by, I believe the author's name was Su Lin Tan. This is the second book in a series known as the Celestial Kingdom duology. I read the first book, read and listened to the first book in the series as a book club pick back in February. So now is a good time to read the second one, I guess. That one was available through the library as an audiobook, and the ebook I have through my Kindle Unlimited subscription, so it's going to be very easily accessible for me. I don't know if you can see it on my phone. Okay, that is too bright. I'm going to put a picture of the cover of the book on the video whenever I'm editing so you can see what I'm talking about. But that is my first pick, and this author is Malaysian. So that's the first prompt. The second prompt will be a timeless work. So timeless is open to interpretation. It can be something that is timeless in the sense that this is something that you can just read at any point in time and the story just ages well. Like Lord of the Rings, very random. I thought about it today and how it's been written for so long, but it's still one of my favorite series. That could count as a timeless series. And another interpretation for the one or for the series that I picked, wow, I am panting a lot. I don't know if I'm just talking really fast or my cardiovascular health has just gotten so terrible over the years, but back to the video. My pick is The Broken Ring, which is a Korean webtoon, and timeless in that sense is because the female main character in the series has lived through multiple lives. So timeless because she has lived multiple lives. That was just my interpretation of the prompt. And like I said, this is a Korean webtoon, so it was written by a Korean author, Kim Cha-cha. And the full title of the series is The Broken Ring. This marriage will fail anyway. I'll put a picture of that on the screen as well because I'm going to be reading it online. I started reading this webtoon like 2022, but as is usually the case with webtoons and manhwas, at some point in time, I just failed to keep up with regular updates. So I'm just going to start the series all over again and hopefully catch up and be able to keep up with updates in the future. So that was the second prompt. Okay, third prompt is going to be an underrated series. I feel like this one can also be a little bit open to interpretation. For this one, I've picked a 𝕤𝕚𝕒 novel by an author that I'm doing a deep dive on right now, just because I don't think I see her talked about a whole lot, and that will be 𝕤𝕚. I've really been enjoying the physical volumes that are getting printed through 7 Seas, so Stars of Chaos and Guardian. But I also started watching some adaptations from her books. It was 𝕬𝕬𝕝 and Faraway Wanderers. So those were the two that I would have probably liked to read, but since I just watched their adaptations pretty recently, by process of elimination, I don't want to read them right now. I also want to read something that I will be able to get through pretty fast. So I went with Lord Seventh, and I also found out that this is actually a prequel to Faraway Wanderers, so it's a good choice. Pretty short story too. And that is by a Chinese author. So far, I have a Malaysian author, a Korean author, and a Chinese author. That's what I meant by no repeats. So none of those can appear in the other 2 prompts. The next prompt is going to be a debut novel. And for this one, I actually have a physical book. I picked this one up last year when Barnes & Noble was doing their sale on hardcovers. The title is A Magic Steeped in Poison. I loved the cover, and that was what drew me to it. This is a debut novel by the author Judy Lin, and she is Taiwanese. So yeah, I'm really interested in reading that. I remember reading up about it, but I honestly can't tell you what the book is about right now, but I guess I'm going to find out whenever I do get to reading it. But that was my 4th book pick, and for the final prompt, it's going to be a story, character, or world that represents what you would want in your next life. For this one, I actually picked a manga series titled The Savior's Book Cafe Story in Another World by Kyoka Izumi and Omiya. Those are Japanese authors. So for all the prompts, I have a Malaysian author, a Korean author, a Chinese author, a Taiwanese author, and a Japanese author. So the Savior's Book Cafe Story, I bought the 1st volume of this manga, and I talked about it in my most recent manga haul. But it's a very short series, so I went ahead to pick up the remaining volumes in the series. It's a 5-volume series, and Barnes & Noble recently had a buy one get one 50% off sale on manga, so that was a good chance to pick up the remaining 4 volumes in the series. And this one is about this 30-year-old office worker who gets transmigrated to a world to be its savior, but she doesn't really want to do that, so she opens up a book cafe and falls in love with a soldier. Excuse me, that is my isekai dream as a book lover. I want that to happen to me. Isekai gods, do your thing, but that was why I picked that one. If I had to pick a world that I could be transmigrated into, that just sounds so perfect and dreamy. But those are all my picks for the Asian readathon. I'm going to try to do another video to talk about everything I read at the end of the month, but this was a very, what's the word? Unplanned video, so very abrupt. Not a lot of planning went into it, so I think I started or stumbled through my words a little bit, but that is the end of the video. Whatever day you find yourself watching this, make it a great one, and I'll see you in my next video. Also, let me know if you'll be taking part in the challenge. Okay, bye for real this time.